Even though many people don't realize it, survival games can be incredibly good on Android. There are many different types, but today we're focusing on zombie survival, both online and a few offline ones, and I'm sure you'll be surprised by the quality of these games, so drop a like and come with me. Let's kick things off with a really fun and surprisingly underrated fighting game on Android, Smash Legends. It's a PvP action brawler, often compared to Super Smash Bros. Or even Brawl Stars because of its knockout style combat. But honestly, I'd call it a hybrid between a classic fighter and the mechanics you'd expect from Smash Bros. It's also fully cross-platform, meaning you can jump in with friends playing on Steam, iOS, or Android without any issues. Matches are fast, chaotic, and usually wrap up in around 3 minutes, keeping everything super dynamic. The game is easy to pick up thanks to the simple controls, but the combo system is smooth, responsive, and packed with depth if you want to truly master it. And of course, there's a big roster of characters for you to choose from and build your perfect team. Here's a roguelike a lot of people don't even realize has a full co-op mode, mostly because the game isn't that well known. We're talking about OTHEWORLD Legends. The game throws you into procedurally generated dungeons, and if your character goes down, that's it, Omu. You start the whole journey from scratch, classic permadeath, but you still keep the upgrades and unlocks you've earned along the way. Just like any good roguelike, victory comes down to synergy. Every run lets you collect relics and items that boost your abilities in wild, over-the-top ways, and combining them creates some ridiculously powerful builds. What really sets OTHEWORLD Legends apart, though, is its lineup of heroes. You can play as a swift samurai like Ginso, a fire arrow archer like Akaisha, a shield-bearing knight like Quentin, or even an engineer who builds her own battle robots. Oddly, and about 2 years ago, the game finally got its co-op mode, which turned out absolutely fantastic. Here's a really new game, so new that you might not even have heard of it yet. Let's talk about MORIKOMORI Life. You probably weren't expecting a cozy farming game on this list, but here we are. This one is often compared to Studio Ghibli films thanks to its 3D toon shaded art style. It mixes soft Japanese landscapes with realistic textures in a charming animated way. The gameplay revolves around a daily life cycle where you shape your own routine, farming, raising animals, cooking, gathering materials, and plenty more. It also leans toward an MMO experience, featuring co-op areas where you can meet other players, explore together, and even visit each other's homes. So if you love games like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing but want something with a warmer, more anime-inspired look, MORIKOMORI Life is a perfect pick for a cozy, relaxing experience. You've probably heard of Metal Slug or even played one of the classics back in the day, whether in an arcade or just out of curiosity, but today we're looking at something a little different: Metal Slug Awakening. This game is a full revival of the legendary run-and-gun franchise that dominated arcades. It's a modern take, updated for today's audience, but it still keeps that frantic action and the goofy charm the series is known for. As you can see, the core gameplay hasn't changed much. You still slide across horizontal stages, blast through waves of enemies, rescue hostages, and unleash those iconic special weapons. The big twist is the addition of co-op modes, plus a bunch of online systems like character progression and even a built-in gacha system. So while it keeps the old-school arcade soul, Awakening brings in modern RPG elements and multiplayer features to make the whole experience bigger, longer, and way more replayable. This next one is honestly one of the most underrated games on all of Android, but at least it's still going strong. Let's talk about Mech Arena. Mech Arena is a PvP shooter built entirely around giant combat robots. You take control of different mechs, each with its own stats, speed, HP, energy capacity, plus a unique ability like a shield, jump jets, or targeting blockers that mess with enemy aim. They're divided into roles like tank, attacker, scout, and support. Matches are short, fast, and full of action, usually lasting just a couple of minutes, which makes it perfect for quick gaming sessions. There isn't much mystery here. The game is straightforward, intuitive, and really easy to get into. Just pick your mech, jump into a match, and start tearing up the arena. I honestly don't know a single person who plays this game, and I wish I did because it's genuinely amazing. Let's talk about FRAG Pro Shooter. This one mixes the fast-paced action of an FPS/TPS with card-based strategy, kind of like Clash Royale, but in real time and way more chaotic. You build a deck of 5 heroes before jumping into the arena. Each one has its own weapon, abilities, and class, but you only control one at a time while the other 4 fight as NPCs. The coolest part is that you can instantly swap between any of your 5 heroes mid-match. That's where the strategy kicks in. If one hero goes down or the situation changes, you just switch to another and keep pushing. It's a brilliant mechanic that feels incredibly smooth And if that wasn't enough, the game also has a super fun 2 versus 2 mode, which makes everything even better. You might remember FARLIGHT 84 from a completely different era, but here's the cool part. The game has been revamped, rebuilt, and it feels like something entirely new. Let's talk about new FARLIGHT 84. The game is set in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world with colorful toon-shaded visuals, a style that's super popular on mobile. And with the latest update, a lot has changed. The game is now fully first-person, and while the heroes still have their abilities, the devs shifted the focus toward true FPS gameplay, those old add-ons gone. Now the combat feels cleaner, more skill-based, and much more intense. The hero abilities were toned down too, so they don't dominate matches the way they used to. In other words, what really matters now is pure aim and positioning, your actual gun skill. In short, FARLIGHT 84 has evolved from a heavily ability-driven battle royale into a more balanced mix of hero shooter and tactical FPS. Here's a game that really tried to do something different. To be honest, it didn't click for me, but let's talk about Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. Oh, this is the first free-to-play Dragon Ball title built entirely around 4 versus 4 team battles. It has a bit of a MOBA flavor, but with its own unique twist. It's also fully cross-platform, available on PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Steam, Android, and iOS, all with complete crossplay. The core mode is a 4 versus 4 team fight where you and your squad work together to take out enemy players, destroy their objectives, and in some modes control key points on the map. Co-op is super easy to set up, and you can play as pretty much all the iconic Dragon Ball characters everyone loves. Like I said, it wasn't really my thing, but it's still worth checking out. If you're looking for a co-op game you can play for years and years, this is the one. Let's talk about Diablo Immortal. The story fits somewhere between the classic Diablo titles. I won't pretend I fully understand the lore myself, but what you do need to know is that the game sends you across Sanctuary to stop Diablo's return. Gameplay wise, it sticks to everything people love about the series: the isometric camera, fast and intense combat, endless demon slaying, and that addictive loop of chasing stronger and stronger gear. It did stir up some controversy at launch because of its monetization, especially the upgrade system tied to legendary gems for PvP and endgame progression. But even with that said, Diablo Immortal is still one of the best cooperative RPG experiences you can get on Android. If you want a survival game to play with a friend, but with a strong RPG vibe on top, good news! That game exists and it's called DAWNLANDS. It features a bright, colorful 3D art style often compared to Genshin Impact or even Breath of the Wild, thanks to its open landscapes and huge world filled with places to explore. You play as the savior of an ancient sleeping land filled with biomes, relics, and puzzles. Your mission is to awaken this world and push back the darkness consuming it. What's cool is how the game starts super simple, like a classic survival game where you're chopping wood, gathering fruit, and trying not to starve, but later on it transforms into a full fleshed out RPG. And yes, it supports co-op for up to 4 players in the same world, very similar to how Genshin Impact handles co-op exploration. The hardest part of this game isn't learning the moves, it's actually winning a match with your friend. It feels like only pros are online. Let's talk about BRAWHALLA. Unlike most fighting games, the goal here isn't to drain your opponent's HP bar. Instead, you need to knock them out of the arena. The more damage a character takes, the farther they fly, making it easier to launch them off the stage. The fighters are called legends, and the roster is huge, and over 60 unique characters, including some really cool crossovers like the Ninja Turtles and Avatar: The Last Airbender. One of the best things about BRAWHALLA is its monetization. The game is completely free, and there's absolutely no pay to win. Everything you can buy is purely cosmetic, which is honestly refreshing. Even I had no idea this game actually had a co-op mode. I only found out recently. Let's talk about BLAZBLUE Entropy Effect. This one is a fully 2D title that originally launched on PC through Steam and only later received a mobile port, but which, by the way, got a ton of praise for how well it was done. The combat is easily the highlight here. The controls feel smooth, the combos hit incredibly hard, and you can play as iconic characters from the BLAZBLUE universe. I'll be honest, I had to look that up myself because I'm not exactly an expert on the main series. And of course, since this is a roguelike, every death resets your run, but you still keep your long-term progression. Plus, yes, it fully supports 2-player co-op, which makes the whole experience even better. Here's a simple and interesting survival game, perfect for anyone using a less powerful phone. Let's talk about ASHCRAFT Frontier. The game takes place in a huge fantasy world called Etham, inspired by Eastern mythology and grand landscape. Though to be honest, since it's a sandbox similar to Minecraft, the story isn't really the main focus here. The map is massive and completely open for exploration with different biomes and dungeons scattered around. You can play entirely solo if you want, no friends needed. But if you do want company, the game has multiple servers with players online at all times, or you can create your own world and invite others in. Combat is real time and it actually requires skill, and your combos, dodges, magic and weapon strategies all come into play. I'm pretty sure you've played a MOBA at some point in your life, and yeah, MOBAs are great for playing with friends, but this one is a bit different. Let's talk about Ancient Stars. The first thing that stands out is the art style. The game uses hand-drawn 2D visuals in several parts, giving the characters and ultimate abilities a really striking look. Gameplay-wise, it's a classic MOBA and you can team up with up to 3 friends, but as you've probably noticed, it's built around a single lane and matches are way shorter, around 8 minutes on average. It features more than 15 heroes, it's extremely lightweight, and it'll pretty much run on any phone. There isn't much mystery here, it's simple, straightforward, and honestly just perfect for quick co-op matches. Let's wrap things up with the most unusual game on this entire list. It's weird, chaotic, and honestly pretty addictive. Let's talk about Abyss of Dungeons. Right from the start, let me tell you exactly what this game is. It's literally a medieval battle royale that takes place inside a dungeon, and unlike traditional battle royales, this one only uses 3 playable characters to make it book by the divided into 3 distinct classes. Besides dealing with real players, you also need to defeat NPCs and mobs inside the cave to level up and strengthen your hero, almost like an RPG. The combat feels a bit odd at first, but after a few matches you get used to it, and adapting to its style becomes surprisingly easy. Like I said, it's the wildest game on the list, but it's also really well made. And that's it for today's list. If you found a new game to try, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.